On the next episode of World in America, we'll meet one of the oldest ethnic communities in the United States, the Hungarian Americans. From their paprika-flavored cuisine to energetic dance moves, Hungarian Americans make living in this country more enjoyable. Tune in for the unique arts, cuisine, and family lives of Hungarian Americans.
Hungarian Americans are, I would say, first and foremost, very patriotic Americans.
Hungarian Americans are people that want to preserve their heritage.
They're very grateful for the opportunities that this country has given them, but they have a strong cultural tie to Hungary.
Well, Hungarian Americans are very grateful to what they find here in America.
I like to think that they combine the best attributes of the culture of Hungary and the optimism and the drive of Americans.
Located in Central Europe, Hungary boasts a rich heritage and picturesque landscapes. Hungarians trace their roots to early nomadic peoples of Eurasian hinterland. In the 9th century, the Magyars, or Hungarians in English, settled in Carpathian Basin in Central Europe around the Danube River. Since then, they've had a dynamic history, ranging from kingdoms and occupations to federal autonomies, and finally, a democratic republic. The history of Hungarian immigration to the United States is almost as old as the history of the United States itself.
That history begins already in the period of George Washington. One person that ought to be mentioned as being important as far as George Washington and the colonists and is a man by the name of Michael Kovács. The master of exercise for the cavalry was organized by Kovács, and then also Pulaski. The two of them organized the cavalry. Both of them gave their life in South Carolina, in Charleston, in battle with the British.
Many Hungarian immigration waves followed Kovács's experience. A small-size migration happened around 1848, when the Hungarian War of Independence failed. But a major immigration wave occurred after the 1880s, when a large amount of Hungarians moved for better economic opportunities, with the hopes of sustaining their extended families back in Hungary. This migration was followed by yet another one after the Second World War, as the displaced peoples were granted entry into the States. And a final migration wave took place right after the famous Hungarian Revolution against the communist regime in 1956. Many vibrant Hungarian families came to the United States around the time of the Hungarian Revolution. Gabby and her husband Steve are from families who migrated during that time.
I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey. My parents came here from Hungary in 1956. They met here.
My name is Stephen Vajte. In Hungarian, it's pronounced Vajtai, as you may have heard already. I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey, 1958.
My name is Andrew Vajte. I'm 16 years old, and I go to St. Joe's in Metuchen.
I am Gregory Attila Vajte. I go to St. Matthias School in Somerset, and I am 14 years old.
I'm Daniel Vitae, I'm 11 years old, and I go to St. Matthias School in Somerset.
It comes as no surprise that both Steve and Gabby were born and raised in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Since the early 1900s, many Hungarians have moved to New Brunswick, which was practically a mecca for Hungarian Americans.
For many, many years, all the older people that lived in New Brunswick, especially in one part of town, were Hungarian. All the neighbors were Hungarian, they all spoke Hungarian, they all knew each other.
They found themselves often settling with like people. At business and stores, mom and pop stores, there were butcher shops and things of that nature, so that this way the people were able to carry on their life, and that the children grew up in this particular manner.
They were all friends with each other. They all befriended each other. They did things together. They spent New Year's. It was a large community. They all spent New Year's Eve together.
The Vitaes recognize that they don't necessarily face challenges acclimating themselves to life here, but at the same time, they never forget what their forefathers had to endure to make it in the States.
Well, my parents' generation had considerably more challenges than I think mine did.
The Hungarians that immigrated had a rather hard time adjusting. It was very different economically, socially.
My father and my uncle had a series of very menial jobs. They worked in an ice cream factory where in the dead of summer they had to carry winter coats with them through the subways. Everyone thought they were crazy because they were carrying winter clothes, but they spent the entire day working in the freezer of the ice cream company. They had a hard time getting started, but at the same time, they never let us forget all the opportunities this country presented for them.
Most nem lesz az én gyönyörű hangom benne.
Dani, figyelj! Azt mondtuk nekik, hogy fix evés közben, akkor kirúgnak a házba.
Every generation has its own unique challenges. Although the Vitaes might have had it easier than their parents, their challenge is to ensure that their kids are comfortable with the language and the traditions.
We both spoke Hungarian before we spoke English.
My parents grew up. They were trying to speak English and learn the American customs, and now my kids were trying to preserve the Hungarian customs. So it's a very difficult, or rather a different situation. Nem tudom, hogy ezt hogy fogom megmelegíteni. Nem baj, ha egy kicsit hideg lesz?
Hallottam, hogy nem tudtál válaszolni.
No?
We try to make a continuing conscious effort to speak primarily Hungarian at home, and also trying to encourage them to speak Hungarian with each other and with their friends, which is a very difficult task.
Mondjuk ehhez kéne egy vesző, de én ezt kirakom, jó? Hogy kabát.
We only spoke Hungarian up to preschool, and I remember me and my brother going there, not understanding a single word that the teacher said to us, and we'd come home every day crying. We had no idea. And just eventually we watched Disney movies. That's how we learned how to speak English.
Követ raksz ide, tudsz valamit csinálni?
Most lesznek jó.
Szű.
I learned English through movies and books that my mom read to me and in school.
Mit tudsz csinálni?
I also speak Hungarian in the house, occasionally English, but I speak Hungarian in the house.
Gotta keep the culture.
You can't really maintain connection with a culture unless you speak, read, and write the language.
One name that distinguishes the American-Hungarian experience is Professor August J. Molnar. Born in 1927 in Cleveland, Ohio, Molnar received his bachelor's degree from Elmhurst College, where he later served as the chairman of the Department of Hungarian Studies. He then went on to pioneer the Hungarian Studies program at Rutgers University, located in New Brunswick, New Jersey. This was a perfect opportunity to academically record the artistic and historic contributions of American Hungarians for future generations. Molnar took it upon himself to achieve this dream by funding the American Hungarian Foundation. This foundation worked tirelessly to establish a museum to keep Hungarian heritage alive and to inform others of their contributions. Eventually, all this hard work came to fruition, and under the leadership of August Molnar, the Hungarian Heritage Center Museum opened its doors in 1989.
In 1989 is when this facility was opened in the city of New Brunswick on Somerset Street. Museum collection has grown tremendously. Right now we have this outstanding, really unparalleled exhibition of Hungarian folk art in the museum.
This exquisite Hungarian folk art exhibit receives curious guests throughout its run. The museum curator, Patricia Fazekas, shares her expertise about the pieces with the visitors.
The exhibit is called Magyar Nép Művészet, and that means Hungarian folk art. It's a very interesting exhibition because the objects are not only wonderful to look at and beautiful, but they tell us an awful lot about the lives of the people who created them.
For the Hungarian folk artist, everything was about function. Form was always in the service of functionality.
This first case is a case full of water jugs, and these are called harvest water jugs. They were filled from the top, and then they would drink out of what they called the chooch, or the nipple here. The X on the pottery was supposed to ward off the evil eye and to prevent the milk from going sour.
Hungarians paid special attention to the design of their wall mount cupboards that every village home carried to keep important valuables.
In it, they kept their treasures. They kept the Bible or the prayer book, maybe the rosary, a couple of important pieces of ceramic. People never would have slept in this bed. This was a bed the peasants would have had in what they called the tista soba, or the clean room. And it was a part of the home that faced the street and had all of their finest things in it. Their idea of beauty was to crowd as much decoration as they possibly could onto a piece of fabric.
At the beginning of each spring, the Hungarian villagers would put together a colorful celebration, similar to Halloween. They would wear a variety of costumes, mostly made out of animal parts, to scare people lightheartedly. Grandchildren of these folk artists, the Hungarian Americans, continue to cherish their heritage through the efforts like the Hungarian Folk Art Exhibit. But exhibits are not the only way to keep their tradition alive. Toward this end, the Hungarian Museum also offers concerts open to the public. If it's your lucky day, you might even enjoy a musical treat from a Hungarian band.
Hallottam kis angyalom, véled esett el a ló. Kitörted a kezedet, mivel ölelsz engemet. Így hát kedves kis angyalom, nem lehetek a tiéd. Kitörted a kezedet, mivel ölelsz engemet.
Visiting museums or nourishing paraphernalia can only do so much to maintain one's connection with the homeland.
I've been to Hungary 4 times, got half of my family there. Each week we did something different. First week we toured Budapest. It was the best experience of my life so far.
I love Hungarian dishes. My grandma cooks them, but they're the best.
I've been to Hungary 3 times already. I love going there because there's a lot to see. There's a lot of history there, a lot of castles and different kind of cool things that you can do there.
But when they go there and they're speaking with real Hungarian kids, they pick up a lot, they pick it up fast, they pick a lot of slang.
It's not the easiest thing to grab a tasty Hungarian bite on the East Coast. To bridge this gap, owners Tony and Tunde Kiss opened the New Europe restaurant, which provides warm and tasty Hungarian delights right here in Woodbridge, New Jersey.
Tunde is an exceptional Hungarian chef. We enjoy all of the traditional foods. I particularly enjoy the chicken paprikash.
We can get our Hungarian food here, and everything is homemade, right from scratch.
A typical Hungarian meal begins with a hearty, warm soup.
The old country, they start lunch with soup. Ingredients is beef, onion, and mixed vegetable, and potato, and the homemade dumpling.
The quintessential dish enjoyed by all Hungarian Americans is chicken paprikash.
One of our oldest meal, probably the goulash and the chicken paprikash.
Goulash is another mouth-watering entree.
The goulash, it's a beef base and vegetable and potato and different spice.
The main ingredient that gives an edge to both goulash and paprikash is the homemade Hungarian dumpling. It's a basic dough boiled quickly, but the secret is Tunde's traditional method of straining them over the boiling water. Tunde likes to serve a traditional cucumber yogurt salad on the side to complement the acidity of the goulash.
A cucumber salad, it's ingredients, it's salt and pepper and paprika and vinegar, and I like to use the little garlic because that is make the special spice, and the little sugar, not too sweet, but they have sweet and sour feeling.
For a taste of authentic Hungarian cuisine, make sure you visit the Little Europe in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Once each year, New Brunswick hosts the Hungarian Street Festival. It's the place to be for a glimpse of all things Hungarian.
The festival is now over 30 years old in New Brunswick. It was patterned after a festival that was started the year before in Toledo, Ohio, where there is an ethnic festival in the Hungarian community, primarily Hungarian festival.
In Hungary, I would walk down the street and really not know anybody, but here it's kind of like a reunion.
I'm not one of those guys who, fears the crowds. I mean, I get up, it doesn't matter to me, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, we're regulars. We've been dancing for 3 years. First year, I remember I was horrified, terrified, so scared we'd screw up, but this time, yeah, absolutely sure. We knew the dance, everyone knew it, we had a lot of fun.
The folk dance, because it's not language related, in some senses really gives them an identity in their hearts and in their physically as well. this is my home, you know. It makes me quite a little emotional. For me, they ask me where my home is. I am like in between. I'm American and Hungarian, and neither comes first and neither is second. But my community where I will raise my children is going to be here in New Brunswick. If you want to live Hungarian, you can be American during the weekends, Friday to Sunday, then you can be Hungarian and not speak a word of English unless you go to the store.
Hungarians have really embraced the United States as a land of opportunity. What we bring is our incredibly good spirits, our love of life, our love of music and community and hospitality. That's what we have to contribute to the United States. And we consider that our duty to contribute that in exchange for the hospitality that we've received in being permitted to maintain and foster our Hungarian heritage here.